Hi, so we're doing this kind of podcast series or whatever just because, well, we've learned a lot living in Thailand. We've learned a lot. And being here, there's stuff that we think that would really bless people in the US, right?
Yeah.
You just don't get a chance to share it. And so this is a way that we can put it out there, and if it's interesting, share it with someone else. Like and subscribe. No, we don't care about that. Yeah. But anyway, that's why we're doing this. And so today we're going to talk about the whole issue of time. One of the key lessons we learned was that things didn't go like we planned, which is normal, of course, in ministry. And we're going to talk about the whole process of time, how to view time, and when we're growing ourselves and then growing other people. I can start right out with just a simple statement, and we're just going to talk to each other, by the way. We're going to forget you guys and just have you eavesdrop in, okay? And so, yeah, for me, this whole thing of it's not only okay for people to take time to grow, it's good.
Yes, it's necessary.
Quality takes time.
Yeah.
And this whole, you remember how stressed I was, and I often say 3 years in was when I was ready to quit because, these people we'd invested in like ran away and were just relapsing. And I'm like, Judy, it's not working.
Yeah.
And I cried out to God. I'm like, what's the answer? And so what? First one was wait. Oh, first one is the cross. Yeah, this is the cross. And of course, I realized Jesus, he was the best there ever was, ever could be. And even after 3 years, it's like,
Yeah. People ran away from him.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then wait, and then go slow, go deep, slow down, go deep that way. And so, but even there, it was still kind of a compromise. It's like, okay, be patient. And Galatians 6:9 kind of jumped out, like, don't get tired of doing good, because in due season. And so it was still more on the negative, like, be patient, be patient. But then for me, it moved into, wait a minute, this is necessary.
Yeah. People need time to process
And
grow. And yes, us too. We needed the time to even spending more time with God, spending more time in His Word.
Well, and there's
and just having relationships, the day in, day out relationships with people was such a privilege.
yes. Oh,
And it was
right.
such a opportunity to just live life with each other.
Right.
And that's huge for healing.
Yeah.
People, when
Yeah.
they're healing, they have to practice.
Yeah.
And you don't, even if, like sometimes God he'll just heal you in a moment where something just is gone. But then you have to go back and you have to learn how to live without that
Right.
hurt.
So
you've
even
been living
the quick
with
things
yeah,
aren't
you've
quick.
been living with that
Yeah,
hurt
you
for
still
so
have to-
long. You have old habits.
Yeah.
You have habits with the way you manage
Yeah.
and respond.
It's
So
the demons coming back into the clean house.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like there is that place for just practice, practice, practice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even with, I remember later on learning that about I remember one time I was like, I just wish I had the mind of Christ. That verse about having the mind of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, how do you get the mind of Christ? It's like, what do you do? And it's just, I remember just thinking, it's practice. You have to practice having the mind of Christ. It's just not just like zap. You have the mind of Christ,
Right.
And that's true with, with so much with when you're discipling people.
Yeah.
To be a discipler is to be a follower, which means you have to follow.
Yeah. Well, you kind of went one way. I thought you were going to talk. And there's so many angles to this, but it made me think of the preciousness of, like, I thought well, so we started we had this reach, teach, send idea. And so you're thinking 3 years or so. I mean, didn't have a firm, but you're kind of thinking
Yeah.
in a while, people are going to move on. We're going to reach people. Or I heard it from a pastor on the west side of the city, get them in, raise them up, send them out, and so that's what we're going to do. And it's like they weren't ready to be sent.
Right.
Okay.
No.
And so we've had to hang on to some folks for a long time. But what a blessing that has become. How precious, what soulmates,
Right. Right.
what best friends we have in Thailand because we were forced to spend time and hang in there.
Right.
Yeah.
To be family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. You don't just do that. It doesn't just happen. Just, okay, we're family now.
Yeah.
It's like you have to have memories. Think
Yeah.
about it. In
Yeah.
families, you create memories. So there has to be time. Otherwise, there's no memory.
Yeah. Yep. And I realized that we were seeing this too. Other folks, I wasn't the only one. We're wanting progress, and people. What we were seeing was because folks were so broken, and they relapse. Their old
Right.
habits come
Relapse.
back,
Right.
and then we're getting mad at them.
Right.
I mean, they're frustrated, things like that.
Yeah. Or you just feel like it's just a waste of time.
Yeah.
Such a waste of time.
Yeah.
I put so much time into this person, and look how they are
Yeah.
now.
And I realize there's a basic theology we learn about salvation. It's salvation, sanctification. That's the idea, this linear process. You get saved, then you get the Holy Spirit, and you're supposed to start growing. And when that doesn't happen, okay, we don't want to fault the Holy Spirit, so we have to fault the person. So you don't
Or
believe
fault
enough you're
ourselves.
being that.
We do that too. We
Yeah.
did a lot of, we're not doing it right.
Yeah.
We need to learn.
We saw both.
Yeah. Like, so,
Depends on
let's go get more
personality.
training. Let's learn new things. Let's
Yeah,
try
yeah,
something different. Yes.
Yeah.
All those things.
And I realized, wait a second, look at every story in the Bible. It's the quick turnarounds.
Right. There's a lot of years sometimes. You kind
Yeah.
of miss it when they're telling the story. You don't notice that, there
Well,
were
yeah.
like 10 years here. Like,
Well, you start right out with Abraham, or how many years did Noah have to spend building the ark, and on and on,
Yeah.
and Moses.
time is different for God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you go to the New Testament, and Paul is the big one, and Paul is our hero, and so forth. And I got to thinking, why did God make him spend all this time in prison and getting messed up and messed around with and stuff? And very clear in Philippians that he learned some lessons through all that, as he talks in Philippians chapter 1, how the circumstances that he would have thought were really frustrating. I'm stuck here. Oh, God's using it. Okay, I've learned some patience here. And then it culminates in chapter 3, which is I've learned I just love Jesus. Well, that's a process.
He also learned to love them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He really learned to love them. And I think that's
Yeah, it became
that's a really
so
beautiful
sweet.
part of it too.
Yeah.
Just learning just how precious people, and when you watch people grow, that's amazing.
Right.
When you think, wow, I remember when you were this way, and now look at you're this way. And
Yeah.
that's one of the really beautiful parts about being in something for a long time. You get to see the changes. Because changes it's like when you're when you're gardening, taking care of plants, right? And you're like, if you sit and watch it, you try to watch it grow, you can't see it grow, but over time, things grow, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And you see and it's God's work too. Right. That's another part of it too, when you realize that God did it, It's like.
And so one of it changes your perspective, so that you do become less results oriented. Is that a way to see it, or do we see results differently? Because one of the things that the micro steps that someone someone just has a little insight, or it's like, wow, would you say that's
I
part
think
of it?
so. I think, yeah,
Hmm.
every time you get that where they're initiating,
Yeah,
like they're
just
coming to
something.
you,
Yeah, yeah,
they have a word, or they start taking care of you. They start having words of encouragement for you, and that kind of switches over. That's really beautiful when you start feeling like you're partnering. You're in this together,
right.
learning.
Well, and then there's the whole long-term patience of the ones that break our hearts, and they leave, and they're out there, and they come
Yeah.
back.
And they come back. Yeah. Or they're so depressed, like they'll just crack the door and look at you through the door,
Mm,
and then one day later they're like
yeah,
so happy to see you. They want to give you a big hug.
yeah.
And you're like, wow.
And we just got that call, the last week was it, from one of our first ones, called out of the blue, video call on Messenger. Like, missed us so much. Remember that? That
Oh,
call.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, and we've been there so long now
And she
that,
was,
that
so this is
we've,
20 years.
yes, and we've been there so long now that when you connect, you have all these memories.
Oh, yeah.
It's just
Right,
like
right,
family,
right,
like
right.
when you connect with someone in your family, you have all these memories together. You have all these photographs, all these pictures, all these experiences.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is really precious.
And I think it's appropriate for me to review you've heard me say this 100 times, I'm sure, but the lessons from the Henry Blackaby, The Experiencing God. I'll talk to camera for just a second. So we did that training course in Uptown Baptist where we were before twice. I went through it twice. I don't know about you. And the second time around, I was like, okay, I'm getting this paradigm. And also around that time, John Piper wrote Desiring God, where the whole idea we glorify God through enjoying Him. So that sense that I'm not here to get things done for God. I'm here to enjoy God. And the key verses that I quote all the time from Blackaby are John 6:44. No one can come to me unless the Father draws him. And then John 5:17 and 19. The Father's always working, and the Son only does what the Father. And I really started incorporating those. And so helpful because then you're not asking, what do I need to do? You're asking, what is the Father doing?
Right.
And sure, the old temptation to do it, yeah, I can't stop that totally. Okay.
Well, and there is a
And you
time
do
to
have to,
do.
yeah.
There is a time to do too. Yeah.
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 So anyway, again, time and age has been a big factor, of course, that just having done this long enough that we've been able to see that. And that's one thing I like to share with folks that are younger.
Right.
Learn from us oldie goldies
Right. Learn
that
from us. Yeah.
that
There's hope.
God does have a plan.
There's hope.
Yeah.
Things do happen. God
Yeah.
changes us. We are changed.
Yes.
And yeah, I had a thought. The idea that that other people are okay wherever they are. Like they might not be ready to change right then and there. They might still be little and not ready, or they might need to go through a few more years before they're really ready to really trust God or give something up. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes things take time,
Yeah.
even whatever we do. And it's too bad because
Yeah.
some of that time feels like it's wasted time, like, oh, but it's
Well,
still
and there's
pretty cool.
I'm gonna I don't know if this is where you're going, but there's a practical point to that too. Right away my mind goes to people who were put in responsibility before they were ready.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's always happens in ministry.
And they get hurt, other people get hurt, everybody gets hurt, and it comes from
Us hurrying.
Yeah.
It comes from hurrying.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's the whole business of waiting and listening and yeah, it's vital. Very important lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another piece I do like to I use this quality takes time. Now, and some of it, like some of the people that we work with, we have like we've got one that we both know very well that she's struggled for the 19 years we've known her. And she's grown a lot, and she'd be in a really good place, but then some relapsing and this and that. But still seeking, still wanting to grow and so forth. And I've said to her again and again, quality takes time. That God has a plan for you. That all these things you've struggled through, that He will use that. And that's another thing I think that needs to be, I want to see it more valued.
It's a great way to get some peace too when things aren't working well. When someone feels hopeless, to say, okay, they're in a process. Let them be. Let's just trust this to God. Let's stay as connected as we can right now, but maybe for a bit they need some time and space. And it gives us some permission to have peace when everything isn't right.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Because so many times things aren't quite right.
Yeah.
And we want to fix it. We want everything to be right. And sometimes it's.
Well, and again, when with that person, they're going to pick that up, that we're not satisfied.
Right. And then it's like we're judging.
It just feeds their whole self-punishment.
Mistrust, guilt, shame.
Yeah. Just enjoying people. It's like,
whatever.
You're good. You're good. Where you are is where God wants you.
Yeah.
And you have to believe that. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You can't just say it because it's the right answer.
Or it's a cop out.
You have to get it.
It's not you being passive either.
Yeah.
It's not being passive. That's a whole nother discussion in ministry.
And I think another thing this brings up for me is the whole age thing, that the youth orientation of Western culture does kind of put people out to pasture as they get older. And that's where, like, okay, you're 40 years old, you're 50 years old, and you're still struggling. Like, wait a minute. You've got some good years ahead of you. God can use any of us in 5 minutes, fully in His will, than in a lifetime of doing it on our own. And preparing people for that moment that's what I'm trying to do now. It's like there's somebody that God's going to use you to bless.
Right. Yeah.
And maybe a lot, but
probably more than one.
Yeah. And of course we all know that sweet older people have something special.
Yeah. They're powerful. Influential. Yeah.
And so what if somebody's in their, again, 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, and they're still, it's like, no, God's still got a plan. Any other things on this one? Time and...
Yeah, I think that's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough time on that.
Yeah, we spent enough time talking about time. Hope you're not, okay. Hope that's helpful. Send us a message, right? In the comments, send us a comment. Like and subscribe. No.
Like and share.
Yeah. We just want to know somebody's listening, but that's all. Thank you.